point of case studies that anyone who reads this book, it was designed for how people read today. Would this be something that I'm interested in? If it is, then maybe other people will be interested in it.
Is this your first book?
I worked on it for about 2.5 years.
Welcome to the Engager Podcast, everyone. On the show today is Mark Renner. He's an author, pastor, speaker. He does preach at the church we're at right now. Thanks, Mark.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. My first question would be, how do you, as an author, see how you've improved in putting your thoughts to paper with this book?
For this book, Curious Cases, a series of short pastoral case studies. Basically, I was writing in high school and college and when I was living abroad and all of that. So this is actually the first time I've been published, and I worked on it for about 2.5 years. Before I started writing this book, when I would write short stories for classes, situations that I had experienced firsthand, giving the right information, but not too much information. I tried to write in such a way that it would captivate people. Would this be something that I'm interested in? If it is, then maybe other people will be interested in it. And then other case studies were about another third, so 3 or 4 events, maybe 5 events that I dramatized, I put together. But more than ever, I thought, how can I make this entertaining? How can I make this captivating? How can I make this realistic for people? So I would say my ability to sort of make things concise, but also relevant to people, probably grew through the writing of this book.
When reading this book, it's definitely not a list of things to do. What perspectives, beliefs, or ideas have you challenged? And how could this affect the reader?
Well, there's 15 unique chapters. I would say that anyone who reads this book, that they're able to make well-informed decisions. I think empathy is really crucial in reading these. Well, there will obviously be situations in these books that not every reader has encountered firsthand. But you have to have empathy when you read these because you have to imagine what you would do. The golden rule, treat other people the way you would want to be treated. So I would say that these case studies, they are designed to help people think more coherently about a wide range of topics or situations or experiences. These can also act as a good icebreaker as well. A lot of these are only a page and a half long, maybe 2 pages long.
So how do you come up with the cases?
You know, with this book, with this style of writing, I used the Harvard case study model. So there are no actual names used and there are no specific places named. Instead, I sort of paint a picture. About a third are almost exact retellings of events. About another third are dramatizations, which I think are very truthful. And I said, how would this play out? You know, there is occasionally a reference to the internet, which isn't necessarily timeless.
It puts a different perspective onto a couple different situations we would not normally encounter, I think. And it's very, very well written in that sense. So yes, and I try to help the reader think through these things. There are reflection questions at the end of each case study or short story. Why add questions?
Well, questions help us reflect. Well, I would say probably the majority of these junior high or even high school students could read with some parental or guidance. I think mature high schoolers. There's a chapter, for instance, on sexual misconduct. Maybe they wouldn't be ready for it.
Different type of literature. How would you describe this writing?
I mean, it's essentially short stories. This in and of itself could be almost a Bible study because there are scripture passages in many of these. And I give no answer key. Instead, I would hope that people could come to their own conclusions responsibly. It was designed for how people read today. I wanted each person to come to their own conclusion. You could have 3 people feeling one thing, you could have 4 people feeling another thing, and quite frankly, what I'll also say is words are not objective. Words are very subjective.
Oh, sure.
So one person reading this might get something totally and completely different out of it than the next person.
So for our listeners out there, I'm holding a physical copy of the book. It's a paperback, but it's also available on Amazon. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and see you next time. Peace.